Hello, everyone. Happy New Year. This is our first meeting of 2023, so Happy New Year. Let's ring it in with a bang and get started. Happy to report an update on district events since our last board meeting, which was about a month ago. Since then, the middle school and the high school both had their winter concerts, which were both wonderful. There are live streamed videos available if you want to take a look. Dr. Bala, Mr. Brink, Ms. Grossman, and I attended the December SEPTA meeting. I appreciate being able to listen to parent concerns and want to ensure two things. The first is that you were heard, and Ms. Grossman and I shared your concerns with the rest of the board. Second is that I will continue to listen and to support our families as we are truly partners in each child's path to growth and development. After having a lot of time to reflect on that meeting, I am looking forward to a collaborative partnership, working to ensure each student thrives as a lifelong learner, dynamic thinker, and compassionate contributing citizen. That is our mission. The end of this school year brought a lot of compliance deadlines to our business office and our facilities department, so I want to thank them for working on these required reports so that I can submit them to the State Education Department. Midterms are making a comeback after 2 years of COVID. So information from both the middle school and the high school have been and will continue to be sent out about the midterm schedules and communicated to families. Last weekend, the Pleasantville Science Olympiads participated in the Long Island Science Olympiad Invitational. Pleasantville had a 5th place finish overall, and in addition, 22 groups of Pleasantville students placed in the top 10 for their challenges. I know that our trustees and the entire community share my sentiments of how proud I am of these middle school students for this accomplishment. I also want to take a moment to emphasize the role of community involvement in support of our students and collaboration with our staff. Our Science Olympiad students have the tremendous benefit of having dedicated and talented staff and community members support them. Thank you to each of you that were there for the competition and practices and for all the support our students receive from home. I know this is truly a team effort. In addition to our success in the middle school science arena, our high school literary and art magazine received 2nd place in the Scholastic Magazine Award. That is hot off the press information. So we'll be hearing more about that achievement in our next newsletter. Just this afternoon, we had the first of 4 meetings for the Reunification Safety Task Force. There were 21 of us in this room from 4 to 6 just today. We had staff, we had family, and we had community members. Mr. Fondi talked about that 3-legged stool. We certainly had all of us in here working together. Our community partners were excellent resources for us. And our charge for this group is to plan an organized reunification process. So if we were in need to reunify families with their children after an emergency event, we would be able to do so in a safe and structured manner. So we will meet again for the next 3 Tuesdays. So today we set out our plan for next Tuesday and how we're going to work and what we want to accomplish. And again, we're scheduled for the 4 Tuesdays in January, and our first one went really well today. Mm-hmm. So did you have a question?
No, it just, I used to fill in that blue card. Mm-hmm. And for a number of years, I didn't really understand the importance of having somebody in town, because I worked in town. I worked from home. And I would put people on, as my first emergency person, somebody didn't live here. My son sometimes was the person who was in Vermont, my mother-in-law who lived far away. And I was talking with somebody, and they described a situation that happened actually in Washington State where there was a fire, and somebody from as close away as Valhalla could not get into this town. So you really needed to have your next door neighbor as your emergency person, because if there was a problem and you were not nearby and your mother-in-law lived in Elmsford, she would not be able to get into Pleasantville because the town might be locked down. It was a real awakened moment for me, because I never thought about that,
Part of what we did today was really like an understanding of the reunification process, but then also talked about like, what are the complicating factors because of Pleasantville? Like sometimes your pros are also your cons. So living in a 2.3 square mile town presents challenges, but also presents opportunities. So really this process is customizing the process to make sure that it works for us and that it's applicable, because you can have 100 different plans, but you never know, exactly how the situations are going to play out. So it's really about the redundancy and the applicability of using those plans in different scenarios. Once we get ourselves organized and we do the work, this task force is also going to be part of the communication structure in terms of like, how do we proactively communicate expectations so that when we're in the situation, it almost does become like muscle memory. Like, oh, they talked to us about this. Like, this is what we have to do. This is what we have to wait for. This is where things are going to be. So that in the event that something happens, we don't go into, we don't know what we're doing.
Right.
No, but we have these expectations and they're clear. So communication will be forthcoming. And again, it is part of what we'll be doing in these Tuesday sessions. So I'm excited about that work. We're following, a similar structure to what we did with the visitor protocols, but not exactly the same. But that's the task that this group is charged to do, and that is who is working on this project. So I wanted to also talk about the middle school HVAC project. As you know, our last bid process for the project came in well over the budgeted $6 million. So we rebid the project, and this Thursday coming up, 2 days from now, we will receive bids on the revised project. We are hopeful that our amendments to the project, along with increased outreach to potential contractors, will result in an on-budget total bid project. So we are waiting for Thursday's information to come through. So I also want to take some time in this report to provide a bit of a context on some of the agenda items that we have on for this evening. Since COVID, our district has experienced many of the same labor shortages and concerns characteristic across the country, the state, the county, and school districts. So, just yesterday when I was thinking about these reports, I was reading in LOHUD that 100% of hospitals report nursing shortages that they can't fill. And 75% of the hospitals said that other key worker positions cannot be filled. So I shut that down, and the next email that pops up is from a company that we use, and they were advertising one of their HR modules. And this, and I quote, is what it said: "Adventurous, experienced people climb Mount Everest, claiming it is one of the hardest climbs in the world. They apparently haven't dealt with recruiting and hiring for school districts. The lack of supply for positions and funding could make those grown adults cry in pain," end quote. I did not make that up. That was literally like sitting there. So, each day I get from NYSBA every single article that's published in education across the state. So anybody, any newsprint, electric print that puts out an article, I at minimum scan the headlines. I cannot say I read every article, but at minimum scan the headlines. Every day, at least one, minimum one, if not 4, 5 to 7 articles talk about the labor shortages. So this is, across New York State. Information comes out all the time about the labor shortage. So in addition to this information, the Lower Hudson Council for School Superintendents, as you know, an organization of 79 school districts and the surrounding counties, has staffing shortages and teacher quality as a top advocacy item. I know that you just mentioned it too in 2 of your organizations as well. It might be called staffing shortages, it might be called teacher quality, but it's around this same topic. In addition, the New York State Council of School Superintendents, in collaboration with other organizations, has sent proposals to the governor to alleviate some of the pressures of the required statutory requirements around hiring, along with civil service rules and regulations, some of which we've talked about at different board meetings. So the struggle is very real and not unique to Pleasantville. We had a vacancy for a part-time school psychologist back in September. When we did not have applicants for the vacancy when it was part-time, the board approved my recommendation to make it a full-time position in order to make it more attractive to candidates. We continue to not have applicants, and the position is still vacant. In this agenda alone, in this agenda that you're going to vote on tonight, you will see that we have a candidate for the secretary vacancy at BRS being hired in a temporary capacity. This is a position we are required to follow civil service rules and regulations for, and unfortunately, due to the timing of when the civil service exam for that position is being offered, we are required to fill the vacancy on a temporary basis. We are fortunate to have on this agenda an appointment of a school nurse after the position has been vacant for 2 months. This concern is not unique to us. We contract with Aramark for our food services. They have not been fully staffed yet this school year. We contract with Acture for our tech services. They have yet to be fully staffed for this school year. Tonight's agenda is similar to our past board meetings, where you will consistently see both hiring and resigning of aides. On tonight's agenda, you will see 6 aide resignations. 4 of these individuals are leaving as we anticipated because their student teaching is over. While we continue to pursue relationships with institutions of higher education to recruit teacher aide candidates, we also know that their time with us is limited. So again, we have a situation that presents both positives and challenges for us. We have and will continue to implement strategies to recruit and hire the best candidates for our district. We critically analyze our postings, look for additional outlets to advertise, and continue to brainstorm creative ways to fill vacancies, either because the position is not filled or because the individual filling the position is absent. In tonight's agenda, you will see some of our strategies and board action. First, I'm asking the board to approve an SMOA with the Pleasantville School Aides Association. The Aides Association president and I worked collaboratively to open their contract and successfully negotiate an increase in hourly wage, additional sick time, additional compensation when they serve in the role of a substitute teacher, and a longevity payment. I want to personally thank Mr. Damon, our AIDS Association president, for his collaboration and partnership on this endeavor. Our aides do a fabulous job for our students, and I appreciate their role in making our district a success. Second, I'm asking the board to approve a pay increase for both substitute teachers and substitute aides. Third, I'm asking the board to allow us to reimburse fingerprinting and civil service application fees. These all come from us listening to our staff, working with our staff, and finding out what our barriers to hiring, recruiting, hiring, and retaining staff might be. So I'm optimistic that these changes will have a positive impact on our staffing needs. I am also committed to continue to look for pathways to support the district in ensuring all our vacancies are filled with exceptional individuals. Our students deserve the very best. I wanted to close on this note. I started by telling you how widespread and deep the labor shortage challenge is. And I think the changes we made are helpful to make us more comparable and competitive to nearby districts. But we have something unique and special. We are Pleasantville. We are a district where people want to be. We have 2 retired teachers coming back to fill leave replacements. Both of them spoke about how this district was their home for so many years, and they are excited to be back with their colleagues and the kids doing what they love and do so well. Graduates come home on breaks and work in our schools in various capacities. Our students who attend school here are the people who work here want to be here, and being around them is an honor and a pleasure. That is an unquantifiable benefit. So I look forward to seeing the rest of the agenda unfold, and thank you.